If Phoenix fires Frank Vogel, shame on them.
When you have KD talking in Twitter spaces about offense wins championships, I think we know the kind of guy Bradley Beal was going to be. Starting off with the Suns, first things first, I'm going to come out with a micro hot take. This is my hot take of the pod, but it was a hot take about Kevin Durant specifically. As the guy that people say, oh yeah, Sage is a fan of Kevin Durant, and I surely am. Dog, B-Souls, I got to check one of your hot takes of the week that you had a while back when you said KD's low-key up there with Curry and Braun longevity. Nope, no, he's not. And I thought I didn't necessarily agree with it at the time, but here's why. When I'm looking at Kevin Durant's longevity, cool. He's consistently a good player throughout his tenure. He was even good in this series. But my thing is, Curry, way later, way past his prime into his career, averaged fucking 30 and then got a chip. Braun, way past his prime, bad defender Braun, got a fucking chip, made the conference finals, hooping out of his motherfucking ass. With Kevin Durant, on literal proclaimed super teams, and we'll talk about that later on my other hot take, but on literal proclaimed super teams, we're just accustomed to him being out the first round, dog. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying that he is a bad scorer. I'm not saying that he fell off a cliff. I'm not calling him like Chris Paul of today, but I think when we are using the word, when we're talking about all-time longevity, he's not on that level, and that's fine. I don't think he's like at literally LeBron being number one, Curry probably being somewhere in the 5 or the 10. I don't think that's the case anymore. And I know that's like a weird take to make, but that's the take I'm dying on, bro. I don't think he's on that level at this point in his career. That's perfectly fine. And speaking of Curry, just play with him, bro. I ain't gonna lie. And now it already makes sense. You've talked about time in and time out that you don't like the situation in Brooklyn. You don't like the situation in OKC. You don't like the situation in Phoenix now. And you've asked for two of the three. All right, you know what the one situation you did like? Playing with Steph Curry. Now Curry's on a bad team any fucking way. Not gonna lie, mutual works for both. Send them niggas Kuminga, Moody, not Pods, I ain't gonna lie, that's wilding. But like whatever the fuck young player, if it gotta be Pods, fuck it. Bring Curry and KD back on the same court. Everybody's happy. He's unhappy there again. Now we know what the consistent denominator is. But go ahead, one of y'all.
I'm gonna just say, man, I don't even think this is a hot take now that I'm thinking about it. If Phoenix fires Frank Vogel, shame on them, bro.
Oh,
if Phoenix fires Frank Vogel, shame on them. Because literally he was set up from the jump. Bro's a defensive coach. He has been a defensive coach since Indiana. Last time he won a championship, it was because of defense. You gave him no defensive assets to work with and built a team to outscore motherfuckers and build an offensive firepower-ass team. And you, instead of hiring a Mike D'Antoni, you hired Frank Vogel for the job. And now that he couldn't get this core, this team, to this NBA Finals winning level because of the bullshit that y'all tried to pull off trying to build this team with no point guard, no depth, building around injury-prone players, now Frank Vogel is going to be the guy that gets scapegoated and possibly lose his job for what? Nothing. You gave him nothing to work with. And I understand that seems crazy to say when I tell you that a coach has KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, but this is not 2007 anymore. This is not 2008. It is more than just a big three. And even back then, I would argue it wasn't even just about the big three back then. It is about building your whole personnel, your whole roster from top to bottom. And Frank Vogel got hoed from the jump.
Well, so. you know he's going to be pretty much out of there. There's reports from Chris Haynes. The Suns front office declined to add a point guard to the roster. He says, quote, Frank Vogel wanted a point guard on the roster, and the front office believed that bringing a point guard over would take the ball out of the hands of Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. There's also conversations about the involvement of this new owner. Sun Source says Matt Ishiba has no idea what he's doing. It's like Looney Tunes around here. This is a quote. It felt unstable since Ishiba arrived. I think he's the owner of GM or whatever. He's a good guy and everything, I think, but he's just he's very involved, too involved. I know he played college basketball, but I venture to say he has no clue with what's going on. He's just making a lot of bad decisions. And then you couple that with, and again, I'm about to be ready to take the hell off. Bradley Beal leaving the court. I think a lot of people saw this and were just done. Bradley Beal is leaving the court, seemingly slaps Frank Vogel's hands, slaps it away, daps up everybody else on the coaching staff, but it is clear as day that he slaps Frank Vogel's hand dismissively, like, get that shit out of here. Bradley Beal does this to a championship coach. Bradley Beal just came from Washington.
I want to apologize to Jaylen Brown, by the way, for wanting Bradley Beal over him this summer.
Yeah, you are indeed disgusting. But nah.
And Dame, to be honest with you. My bad, JB.
I apologize. I said he was the one that I was saying bring the Golden State. I apologize for that too.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, nigga, I knew you was a loser, so I ain't gotta apologize.
I wasn't too big on Beal to either one, so fair enough. But I want to reiterate something you said, and I don't care if it's the casual thing to point out. Obviously, what Beal did was disrespectful, but it's just sad it's going to be Frank Vogel. And again, we're having a conversation about coaches, players, and ignoring the front office. Dog, them niggas said, we don't want a point guard because it will take the ball out of our scorer's hands. That may be the most backward shit I've heard a front office say ever since when LeBron first came to the Lakers, and they was like,
guys, springtime is sprung, and that means America's pastime is here. Grab you a Frank, grab you a beer, and head on over to Prize Picks and play daily fantasy sports. Make sure you download the app or head over to the website. I see Mookie Betts, 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I'm going to go more naturally. And then I'm going to go Kyle Harrison, more on hits allowed. I'm going to place my money in my entry. Let's go column 10. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit place entry.
And thanks to our friends over at Prize Picks, if you guys use code LKIB, you guys can get a 100% match on your first deposit of up to $100. And hopefully you can win some money as well if you really know baseball or basketball or really any sport you want to play. Links to everything will be in the description down below. And shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this podcast.
Any more playmakers? That is the most backward shit. And don't you remember that? I'm not saying this like that may be the most backward shit. These niggas said, okay, we got Katie, Booker, and Beal. We don't want a point guard taking the ball out their hands, though. That's so fucking dumb. That's just unbelievably dumb. That's incompetence. And the idea that's going to go to Frank Vogel, a defensive coach, as Souls mentioned, on a purely offensive team, you would at least hope for these guys to want to play defense. But I'm sorry, when you have KD talking in Twitter spaces about, and then even directly tweeting, offense wins championships. I think we know the kind of guy Bradley Beal was going to be. And then Booker's never been that fantastic of a defender. It's just unfortunate. Vogel is going to be a damn good coach on the market again. The second time he's been gaslit by star players, in my personal opinion. I don't think he's coming back to LA. Before y'all start thinking I'm trying to connect those dots, I don't think he's coming back to LA. But, man, that's a hell of a coach out there, bro.
Damo, you
What's up?
me or you? You want to go? Me or you?
Hey, you know what? I've yapped enough. The floor is yours, gang.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I know you want to go, so I'm going to shut the fuck up.
I didn't know that the owner of the Suns, that Matt guy, was a former basketball player. They're going to be screwed for a long time. Listen, it was never Russell Westbrook. I had that comment a minute ago when James was saying the things about Daryl Morey and then the KD stuff. It was never Russell Westbrook. So here we are again, another failed season from one of the three out the trio back in the OKC days. Russ is doing whatever he needs to do in order to win. Again, I'm gonna come off the bench. James is playing cool. He's playing pretty good over there in the Clippers. But here we have Kevin Durant finding every which way to point fingers and place blame on anybody else. Talk about the failed issues at the end of the season, all that stuff. We saw you play, buddy. We saw you. It's okay. I know a lot of the box score people are going to say, but this, that, and the third. He is not the same player as he once was.
That's all I'm trying to say, too.
He's not the player that he once was. Okay? And instead of accepting that and being somebody different, approaching teams different, doing things differently, it's everyone else's fault. Now it's Frank Vogel. Now it's Frank, and B Souls hit the nail on the head with the tweet. You know, we've got to stop. We've Player empowerment has gone too far. I don't know when we've got to the point where the coach is the immediate one. We have got to stop. It was never Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant, you are not him. You've never been him. You need to go back and be with your ex. Sometimes you got to get back with your ex. Apologize to Steph. Apologize to Draymond. Make up however you need to make up. But go back to where you came from. It was never Russell Westbrook. Bradley Beal. I knew you were a loser. I did not know you were a lame. I knew you were a loser. I did not know you were a lame. That Frank Vogel shit after you just came from Washington, D.C., playing with the Washington Wizards, having never been a winner, because I think even the time that you've been in the playoffs, it's been with a sub 500 record.
We
right?
cooked y'all in the second round.
You know, 29-53, 44-38. Okay, there's one. 46-36, 41-41, 49-33. That's when they got cooked in the second round. 43-39. You've always been a loser. 32-50 with you on the roster over in Washington. 25-47, 34-38. You've always been a loser. And you have the opportunity to play meaningful basketball. And you slapping the coach's hand? Ooh, you so stinky. Oh, you so ass. And last but certainly not least for me on this matter, D-Book, you got your chain snatched, buddy. You
the elephant in the room.
would come in and take that shooting guard title right out of them weak ass hands.
Oh wow, okay.
Them weak mitts you got, buddy.
Take the shoe deal away, bro.
Yeah,
trying to buy D-Books, man. Come on, dude.
Gang. They try for so long with you, and to be the best shooting guard in the league, I'm not gonna lie, it is an easy bar to clear. Yet you let Ant Edwards come in and take it again. You might have played okay. I really don't care about that. I'm just talking about your horizons. I'll give it up. Phoenix don't got no good intentions for you, my guy. They don't. I know you can be the man. It's pretty chill over there, but it is time for you to get a fresh start. And if you're not looking for that, that also tells me about who you are.
So, go ahead, Dom. I got a question to ask.
I just wanted to add, talking about D-Book. Listen, I'm all for smoking a D-Book pack. Hey, I got a little bit right here left over. Let's just. I just want to add context. It was Jalen McDaniels guarding that nigga. And look, it's one thing if D-Book went out there and he was just. D-Book went out there and he was just missing shit. He looked ass. He definitely missed. He definitely missed some shots. Cool. But Jalen McDaniels, I don't want to make this D-Book you ass as much as I want to say, as much as it, yo, Jay McDaniels, you're a god. Oh my God. If that's what niggas have to look forward to in this playoffs, if you're a scoring guard, that's what you have to deal with. You got to work 4 games. 90, as Omar said famously, 94 feet of pressure. 48 minutes, 94 feet of 6'9", 6'10", all mobile, jumping every screen, and he's giving you 20. There's no treat him like Roberson. That nigga is to the rim. He is hitting shots. It is not a game. That nigga's that boy good. That's all I'm gonna say.
A big part of this is just also just, hey, you lost to a better team too. I ain't gonna lie. But.
No, and I get that, and that kind of leads me into another point of the conversation, because you got to talk about where we go from here. The way that these teams, and I would include the Lakers in this, but we'll drag them in here later. The way that people build teams is just so flawed. Bezos talked about it a little bit earlier. It's not 1 through 3. It's not 1 through 4 anymore. There are teams in your conference that have a 1 through 6. A 1 through 9, a 1 through 8, 9. Like there's teams that are building out real teams. You guys trying to skip the process doesn't make any sense. I keep saying this. This is supposed to be the most talent the league has ever seen. Yet y'all guys cannot find competent pieces to play around y'all superstars. That's a you problem. That's a you problem.
Yeah. And I think what's so funny and fucked up about this conversation, and I know there's might be some takes that myself or any of my co-hosts maybe have objectively wrong here, but what's gonna be frustrating is any person that's defending the players here, all they're gonna do basketball reference, playoff stats, and they'll see numbers like the following: Bradley Beal, 16 points on 44-43 from 3 on 6 attempts. Devin Booker, 27.5 on 49. That's just good right there. Kevin Durant, 26 on 52, 55, 41. And they're going to see these things, and it's just going to be like, oh, what are you talking about? They just lost just because I don't know Zibes, but all three were excellent. They did the right thing. Nothing was wrong except the coaches and GM. But those three can do it possible, blah, blah, blah. And I just think it's just sad how, like, whether it's raw stats or like player, not empowerment, but like biased from fans, can really blind motherfuckers on how teams need to be constructed and how much morale even matters.